The other day we were talking about these dangerous major diseases of the world. As much as people are afraid of the diseases, they are also afraid of those patients who have contracted such diseases. In fact, one should have compassionate feeling. One should be compassionate towards such people and offer help as much as one can. And perform or carry out these measures such as abstention, abstaining from contracting these diseases, abstaining from coming into contact with such diseases, then prevention, and then comes treatment and combat these diseases, and finally eradicate them to the point of no return. So instead of being afraid, one should find methods in order to take such measures. So the medical science or scientists also have done research in order to treat these diseases so that they are able to invent these medicines which cure such diseases as much as possible. Finding also the methods to treat the diseases, these dangerous diseases, so that these diseases are treated as much as possible. So too with the mental diseases. Diseases as a result of these negative tendencies, negative mental traits, such as raga, dosa, moha, craving, aversion, and delusion. The Buddha himself has treated such diseases by himself with the practice of Vipassana and be cured of such diseases. These are known as sasana kilesa diseases. And after having discovered the method by himself, the Buddha gave this method to all beings with his great compassion. The kind of medicine which the Buddha has discovered, so that beings are treated with such remedies and they become rid of such diseases, so that they were able to attain to Ariyahood, such as the first part, Sorapanna, Sagaragami, second part, third part, and the final part, so that they become pure and noble individuals. And in this way, the Buddha has given the remedy in accordance with the diseases. So today we shall continue this subject. As sentient beings, most of sentient beings go in pursuit of these objective sensualities, such as visible object, desirable visible object, and things like that. There are 5 kinds of sense objects, leading to subjective sensuality, kilesa karma. And as for the first one, the Vutu karma, this is none other than the 5 sense objects, desirable objects. And the second one is kilesa karma, is just craving for these desirable objects, such as desirable visible object, sound, taste, smell, touch. When it comes to touch, it also includes all kinds of tangibility, including touching, contact between different opposite sexes. And after they have got what they have craved, things don't stop there. They'll crave more and more. They crave for better and better objects of sense. Such desire, craving, is what is meant by kilesa karma. once one desires kilesa karma, these objects, vodhukamas, then one will, what the text says is that one will hang on to such objects without relinquishing them. It's not easy to let go of them unless you have the real heroic courage to overcome them. So it is better to prevent these things from coming into contact with you or coming into attachment with these objects. Prevention is better. That is, first of all, one method is to practice the restraint of your faculties at the place where it happens. For instance, if it happens at the eye door, you need to practice the restraint of eye faculty. And if it happens at the ear door, you have to practice the restraint of ear faculty and nose faculty, tongue faculty, and so on. So unless you are able to cultivate the restraint of such faculties, you are bound to become desirous. Kilesa karma is bound to happen. And once you crave for such things and you hold on to such objects, it is not easy to let go of them. So that in the end, you'll have enjoyment, you'll be able to enjoy things, and that kind of enjoyment, happiness is fatal. Whatever you enjoy, the sense objects that you enjoy will lead you to the kind of happiness which is fatal and dangerous. For those who understand or see the disadvantages in such kind of enjoyment or happiness, that is sensuous enjoyment, sensuous happiness, will look for real happiness and enjoyment, which has security and guarantee. Because sensuous enjoyment or sensuous happiness have no guarantee. They can be destroyed. They're subject to destruction, and those people who understand this will go in pursuit of those kind of happiness which have security and guarantee. When the visible object comes into the focus of the eye, then there's bound to be these two things. One will hold on to this nimittaka, the composite sign. That means seeing one whole thing, general view of the object. Suppose it's a man or a woman, general object as man or woman. And then, when one goes further, one goes into the particulars, particularization, known as anubhijanagaha, holding on to the particulars, the details, such as the features, the individual features of man or woman or other objects. Then, so too when the object comes into the focus of the ear door, or nose door, tongue door, or body door, or mind door, there can be these two things. First, the general view, nimittaka, the sign of that object, comes into view. One sees that sign. Later, if one is not able to practice the restraint of faculties, one goes into the particulars of that object. So Buddha has given that one should practice the restraint of these faculties, and has given a method of preventing and treating and eradicating these diseases concerned with the mind. When the eye sees something, that is a physical object, rupa ramana, especially the opposite sex, man seeing woman, woman seeing the man, or other attractive visible objects, there arises this craving, especially seeing man, seeing among the opposite sexes. First one sees the sign, general features, general form of the object. This is nimitta, is holding on to the form. And even at this stage, seeing just the form, one can be subject to defilements, negative tendencies such as craving. This can arise in one's stream of consciousness. And on top of that, if one goes into the details of that object, such as seeing the face, the separate features of the face, limbs, for instance, and parts of the body, the manner of his or her walking or talking, such thing as seeing, going into the particulars, particularization. Then this negative tendency, the craving, becomes very prominent, very obvious. Such that then seeing them as attractive will lead to avijja, covetousness, which is in essence greed, craving. So too with the hate-inducing object, undesirable object, which can arouse anger, ill will, which is, in which case one will be subject to unwholesome, the unskillful deeds. A lot of unskillfulness can arise in one's stream of consciousness. So the Buddha has given this method of practice of the restraint of faculties. And when one sees a visible object or hears a desirable object and so on, it's better that one does not look at all. Because the saying is that no kilesa will arise regarding the objects not seen. If you don't see, then there will be no cause for defilement. However, unavoidably, if you look and see, then if you see something attractive, there will arise this craving, lobha. And if you see something unattractive, undesirable, there will arise this ill will or anger. So that such things will not happen, once you practice the restraint of eye faculty, which is done in secundariya, controlling the faculty of the eye. And when you control the faculty of the ear, it becomes sotendriya. And if you control the faculty of the body, kayendriya, and if you control the mind, manendriya, and so on. In this way, if you practice the restraint of these faculties or control these faculties, you are said to be closing the 6 doors or 6 faculties, sense faculties. In this way, you prevent, by practicing the restraint of these faculties. Then, if you practice the restraint, you'll be secure. If you're secure, you'll be free from bondage of these tendencies, and then you'll be led to peace of mind. So the Buddha has given this saying, the teaching, in order to overcome these diseases, mental diseases, that the Buddha says that ekarako hoti, there should be one kind of one means of protection. And what kind of protection is it? That is the question posed. And the Buddha also answers that question. Satarekhina chitasa sampanakano hoti. That means those of you bhikkhus or yogis who are bent on subduing or overcoming these negative tendencies should have a kind of mind which is guarded by mindfulness, or should be fulfilled with a mind guarded by mindfulness. In short, simply put, it means just to focus your attention on an immediately arising object in the body with proper aiming energetically and sustaining mindfulness. In short, to guard yourself with vigilant mindfulness of every arising, every seeing, tasting, touching, and so on. So one has got to practice constant mindfulness of every arising. That is what the Buddha has given the method. Just like when there are problems in the world, there has to be some powerful means to subdue and overcome such problems so that the world will become peaceful. So too with the mental problems, when the mental problems arise as a result of these negative traits, mental traits, then one has got to practice the restraint of mindfulness. One should have a powerful means to protect, to prevent and combat such enemies, such diseases. So when it comes to, so that the object of senses, one will not come to the stage of transgression. As regards the object of senses, one should have a powerful means to prevent, to protect, to prevent and combat. As much as the world has to be protected by powerful means, so also one should be able to find this powerful means of combating as regards to mental diseases. And such as what is that method? That method is none other than the statement that we've just discussed. One should possess a kind of mind which is guarded by mindfulness. That is, guarding yourself with vigilant mindfulness of every arising. In this way, one can prevent and treat these mental diseases, and which is the simplest and cheapest method. Just like in the case of the problems that arise in the world, people have to get together, or the countries have to get together in order to form a sort of a coalition, in order to subdue or combat the enemies, to bring about peace in the world. As regards the mental diseases, one cannot do like that. One has got to treat by preventing and eradicating one's mental diseases by oneself only. This cannot be done by another person. So this is self-cultivation in a systematic way, by means of cultivating one's physical, verbal, mental behaviors, so that it becomes pure, blameless, cultured, gentle, graceful and affable. So there are these measures in order to improve oneself, to develop oneself, cultivate oneself. First of all, the moral conduct, sila. If one lacks sila, morality, then one should be able to practice, try to possess this moral conduct. Secondly, if one has no faith at all, or not enough faith and confidence, one should instill faith in oneself. And that by examining one's practice, one's own practice, and then the results of the practice. By examining one's own practice, the results of the practice, one can instill faith and confidence in oneself. In this way, one awakens one's faith and confidence with the practice. Once the faith and confidence is awakened, one is bound to undertake the practice. Hence, this awakening of faith and confidence is necessary in the first place. If one has faith and confidence, there will be zeal, chanda, to undertake the practice. And one should be able to mold oneself, shape one's behavior so that one can conduct in the right way. If one is not behaving correctly in the right way, then one should improve oneself. And this can be done only by oneself, to mold or shape one's behavior and conduct. And Buddha has given that method also. One should compare in this way, or just take the analogy. Suppose there is something which is not in order, which needs repair. And if you just watch with folded arms, not doing anything, and that substance which is out of order will never be repaired, will never come into order. So to when one has shortcomings, one should not just look or just wait without doing anything. One should be able to mend one's ways. If there are failures, one should improve oneself so that one becomes a good lay person, a good monk, as the case may be. So if one can improve in this way, with systematically, if there is any gaps, one should fill the gaps. And if there is any deviation, one should, if something is deviation, then one should be able to correct this deviation so that it becomes straighten it, rectify it, and in this way one should improve one's ways. That is what the Buddha has said. Once you are able to mend your ways so that all your failures and shortcomings are overcome, you are able to conduct your physical, verbal, mental behaviors in the right way, how would you feel? You'll feel extremely satisfied because your physical behaviors are conducted in the right way. You'll be extremely satisfied to see your verbal behaviors conducted in the right way. And also when the mind is properly conducted, you'll be extremely satisfied with your mental situation. So this kind of happiness which can arise out of this method of conducting in the right way is much better than manifold excels these sensual pleasures which are dangerous and fatal. Hence it is known as abhyasika sukha. And because it is not mixed with the sense objects or sensual pleasures, it is known as asamisa sukha. And because it is pure, it is known as parisauddha sukha. This is something to be cherished. When you are taking food, cooking, for instance, your meat, fish and meat, if you are non-vegetarian, if you just boil or cook as it is or as they are, then it will not be tasty. When you add condiments, spices and things like that, it becomes more tasty. It becomes better. So people always put condiments and spices in the curries, in the fish and meat dishes. Such kind of taste, such kind of pleasure, enjoyment is known as vyasika sukha, because it is mixed. It is not pure meat or fish or vegetable, because it is mixed with other things. Or in other words, it is adulterated. Such is known as vyasika sukha. It is mixed happiness, mixed enjoyment. Or samisa sukha, same thing, mixed, adulterated kind of happiness. Or aprisauddha, impure Because it is not just one pure thing, it is mixed with other things, so that it becomes, we can say here, although the taste may be good, we say that it is impure, because it is not in a pure state. Such is known in Pali as aprisauda sukha, the kind of pleasure, enjoyment that comes out of this mixture, because it is not pure. So indulging in such pleasures which are mixed with sense objects can lead to danger, because it is mixed. It is known as vyasika sukha. For those who go in pursuit of sense objects, being desirous of sense objects, they want, when they want to enjoy something, they always have to mix that something with some sort of craving, some good things. If you put craving, raga in it, it becomes more tasty. If you don't like it, of course, you won't be able to enjoy it. If you like it, if there's craving or if there's attachment, you enjoy it. Such is impure, because it is mixed with the negative traits. It is not pure. Hence it is known as aprisauda sukha. So there are these two sets of sukha, happiness, enjoyment, bliss. One set is vyasika, samisa and aprisauda. That means they are mixed, adulterated and impure. Another set is abhyasika, unadulterated, asamisa, unmixed, and parisauda sukha, pure, because it is not mixed, it is pure. So we have two sets. Now which one would be better out of these two things? Now, of course, obviously the second set, if you like it. That such kind of happiness can only be realized with the practice of the restraint of your faculties. Practice the restraint. Watch at the very sight of the negative tendencies and the defilements. Watch at that place, watch at that door where the negative tendencies can arise. That is the practice of mindfulness. So in this way, and if at all, even if you are watching, preventing this negative tendencies can arise in your mind, you got to treat it by just mindfulness. So we use these two methods, prevention and treatment, leading to happiness, real happiness, which is unmixed, unadulterated, abhyasika, asamasa, and pure kind of happiness, parisauda sukha, which is manifold better than mixed, adulterated, impure kind of sukha, pleasure or bliss or enjoyment, which you can get from the enjoyment of sense pleasures. So the Buddha has given this method, and such method is none other than the practice of the way of mindfulness.
Yoga, Kuta Shinai Adwe, Chanchene, City Papi Yashin, Duo, Tayaro Hareve, Senija Posat Hare, Sine Duo, Piazga Laina, Buko Zuha Leve, Senija Posata de Sego, Oma, Shoja Miwaji Yoga, Dautu. Do volley. Only Jama kissing Jam, Dinner of the night, I never told you.
We still have to deal with the subject of how the Buddha has given this method of overcoming these kilesa diseases in order to treat this kilesa to the point of no return, comparing him as a skilled physician, like a physician treating a patient to be rid of disease. And the Dhamma has been given the analogy of the medicine, the potent medicine which cures the disease, and the Sangha, the community of monks, as those individuals who have taken the medicine, the practice, which is like medicine, systematically, and become cured of kilesa diseases. This will be discussed tomorrow.